There is a silent, hollow sensation that every man encounters at least once in his journey toward maturity, a realization that something fundamental has shifted in the way he is being perceived by the world around him. You are giving your attention freely, yet you find that you are not receiving the same energy in return. You are making yourself available at a moment's notice, yet you are somehow becoming less valued in the eyes of the person you desire most. You are doing more, exerting more effort, and sacrificing more of your own peace, but you feel as though you matter less with every passing day. At first, you do not question this discrepancy. You assume that the solution lies in your own performance. You think to yourself that perhaps you just need to try a little harder. You tell yourself that maybe you should show even more interest, or that if you can just prove your worth through one more act of service or one more display of affection, she will finally see your value. But what you do not yet understand is a law of human psychology that is as old as time itself. Every time you overgive, every time you tolerate what you know deep down you should not, and every time you ignore your own personal standards just to keep her presence in your life, you are not building a bridge toward her. Instead, you are slowly teaching her how to treat you. You are not teaching her with your words, because words are cheap and easily ignored. You are teaching her with your behavior. People do not respect what you say, they respect what you allow. This realization is where the path of the average man ends and the path of the high-value man begins. The moment you stop allowing certain behaviors, the moment you start holding your ground with quiet conviction, and the moment you choose your own self-respect over the fleeting hit of her approval, the entire dynamic shifts. This change does not happen immediately, and it often does not happen obviously. It happens internally within her, because now she feels something she hasn't felt before: resistance. She feels a sudden uncertainty. She realizes that she no longer has full, unrestricted access to your time and your emotions. And that is exactly where attraction begins to grow. It does not grow when you give more. It grows when you become a man who cannot be easily accessed or manipulated. The truth that most men spend their lives avoiding is that women do not chase men who are available all the time. They chase men who possess firm boundaries. These are not men who are rude, cold, or distant for the sake of playing games. They are men who are grounded, clear, and unshakable in their principles. Boundaries create a powerful tension. They create a sense of mystery and a value that cannot be negotiated. When a woman feels that your standards are not for sale, she leans in. She does not do this because you asked her to, but because she wants to understand the source of your strength. This is not about basic dating rules. We are going deep into the 7 boundaries that change the way a woman sees you completely. These are the kinds of boundaries that make her feel that she cannot treat you like everyone else. They make her question why she feels so drawn to you, even when you aren't trying to pull her closer. When a man moves with clarity, standards, and quiet strength, he stops chasing attention and becomes the one people move toward. If you have ever felt that she does not value you the way you value her, or that you give too much only to lose respect, then this is the moment everything changes. It changes not by doing more, but by finally deciding what you will never allow again. Boundary number 1. You do not reward inconsistent behavior. There is a pattern that quietly destroys a man's value without him even realizing it, and it begins with how he responds to inconsistency. This is not about blatant disrespect or obvious rejection, but those small moments where her energy fluctuates. One day she is warm, engaged, and fully present, and the next she becomes distant, slow to respond, and almost unavailable. Most men notice this shift. They feel the anxiety it produces, and instead of stepping back, they lean in more. They try harder, hoping to bring back the version of her they liked. But when you reward inconsistency with more attention, you teach her that she does not need to be stable to keep your interest. Consider a man who talks to a woman daily. When she pulls away, he double texts or tries to be more entertaining. He thinks he is fixing the problem, but he is actually rewarding her for withdrawing. Contrast this with a man who holds his ground. When her energy drops, his energy doesn't increase to compensate. It stabilizes. He doesn't chase. He simply mirrors the reality of the situation. If she becomes less available, he becomes less invested in that moment, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. This forces her to notice that access to you is not automatic. Your attention is not a guaranteed resource she can tap into regardless of her behavior. When you stop rewarding unstable energy, you stop attracting it. Boundary number 2. You do not over-explain yourself to be understood. There is a silent habit that kills attraction faster than rejection: the desperate need to explain yourself. Many men believe that communication means clarity at all costs. When a woman challenges them or reacts negatively, they rush to justify their thoughts. But attraction grows through presence, not through a verbal defense of your character. Imagine you state an opinion and she responds dismissively, saying it doesn't make sense. The average man will spend 20 minutes trying to prove his logic. The man with boundaries simply says, "That's just how I see it," and moves on. He is comfortable being misunderstood because he does not need her approval to validate his reality. When you do not chase understanding, people start leaning in to understand you. This is about being secure enough to stand in your position without needing to defend it constantly. Boundary number 3. You do not make her the center of your time. Value is not created by availability, it is created by limitation. When a man organizes his entire schedule around a woman's whims, he removes all the challenge from the interaction. If you are always free the moment she texts, your time loses its weight. A man who understands this boundary has a life that does not revolve around her. He has goals, responsibilities, and moments that are sacred and separate. He responds when he can, but never at the expense of his own purpose. This creates an environment where she feels she must align with your world rather than owning it. Meaningful presence creates emotional impact, and that impact is only possible if there is an absence that precedes it. Boundary number 4. You do not tolerate disrespect, even in its smallest forms. Disrespect rarely starts with a loud argument. It starts with a delayed reply, a cancelled plan without an apology, or a joke at your expense. Every time you ignore these small tests just to keep the peace, you are lowering your price tag. People test boundaries gradually, pushing a little more each time to see where you will break. A man who respects himself addresses these issues with calm clarity. He doesn't create drama, but he creates consequences. If she cancels last minute, he doesn't immediately reschedule. He allows her to feel the break in continuity. He teaches her that his presence is a privilege that requires a baseline of respect. This isn't about control. It is about refusing to lower your standards for temporary comfort. Boundary number 5. You do not seek her approval to feel confident. There is a quiet dependency that many men carry where their emotional state is a direct reflection of her mood. If she is warm, he is happy. If she is cold, he is miserable. This volatility is a massive attraction killer because it shows that he is not grounded. Your confidence must be self-contained, built on your own achievements and your own sense of self. When she pulls back, a grounded man remains the same. He is stable, like an anchor in a storm. This stability is magnetic because it cannot be manipulated. She realizes that she cannot control your internal state by changing her behavior, which makes your confidence feel real and rare. Boundary number 6. You do not chase when she pulls away. In every connection, there is a moment where the energy shifts and she creates distance. Most men panic and try to close that gap with pressure. But pressure is the opposite of attraction. When she pulls away, she is often creating space for her own emotions or life. If you chase into that space, you suffocate the connection. A man with boundaries notices the shift but stays focused on his own path. He allows the space to exist. This absence of pressure allows her emotions to breathe and eventually return to him. Attraction needs room to grow, and you provide that room by remaining consistent in yourself while she is inconsistent in her feelings. Boundary number 7. You are always ready to walk away. This is the most critical boundary of all. All other boundaries are merely suggestions if you are not willing to leave the table when the deal is no longer fair. If she knows that you will stay regardless of how she treats you, your boundaries have no teeth. Walking away is not a tactic. It is a declaration of self-worth. It means that your peace and your direction are more important than any single connection. A man who is genuinely willing to walk away doesn't need to threaten or shout. His energy communicates it for him. This realization that your presence is conditional on mutual respect is what creates the highest level of attraction. It forces her to recognize that being in your life is something she must continue to earn. These boundaries are not about changing her, they are about changing you. They are about shifting from a man who seeks attention to a man who commands respect through his existence. When you live this way, you don't need to make anyone chase you. They will do it because you have become something rare, a man who knows exactly who he is and what he is worth. This shift from external validation to internal identity is the ultimate transition of the masculine spirit. It is the realization that you are the architect of your own value. When you stop acting from a place of need and start acting from a place of self-respect, the world and everyone in it begins to reflect that respect back to you. You are no longer just another option. You are the standard. The man who is always explaining himself is a man who is trying to earn his place in the world. But the man who is calm, who holds his time as sacred, and who refuses to chase after those who do not value him, is a man who already knows he belongs. This is the quiet strength that defines true masculinity. It is not loud, it is not aggressive, and it does not need to prove anything to anyone. It simply is. And in that simple state of being, you become truly unshakable. When you walk through life with these 7 boundaries as your foundation, you invite people into a world that is already complete. You are not looking for someone to fill a void. You are looking for someone to share in the abundance of a life well lived. This perspective changes every interaction. It removes the desperation that leads to poor decisions and replaces it with the discernment that leads to high-value connections. Every time you encounter a challenge to your boundaries, see it as an opportunity to reinforce your own worth. Do not see it as a threat to the relationship, but as a test of your own character. If the relationship cannot survive your self-respect, then it was never a relationship worth having in the first place. This is the hard truth that leads to genuine freedom. By being willing to lose the connection, you gain yourself. And when you have yourself, you have everything you need to attract exactly what you deserve. This journey is not easy. It requires constant vigilance and a refusal to settle for less than what you know is right. But the reward is a life of clarity, strength, and the kind of respect that cannot be bought, only earned. As you move forward, remember that your boundaries are the walls of your kingdom. Without them, you are open to every passing storm. With them, you are a fortress of purpose. Stay grounded, stay focused, and never apologize for having standards that reflect your true value. The man who respects himself first is the only man the world will ever truly respect. This is the path of the Stoic mentor, the path of the man who leads by example rather than by demand. It is the path toward a masculine identity that is defined by internal principles rather than external reactions. When you master these 7 boundaries, you master the psychology of attraction, not because you have learned how to play the game, but because you have moved beyond the need to play it at all. You are now the one who sets the terms, and that is where your power resides. Every day presents a new set of circumstances where these boundaries will be tested. Perhaps it is a friend who consistently disrespects your time, or a colleague who tries to overstep into your personal space, or most commonly, the woman you are pursuing who is testing the limits of your resolve. In each of these moments, you must return to the core of your identity. Ask yourself if your current response is diminishing your long-term value for a short-term gain. The man who prioritizes the long-term respect over the short-term approval is the man who eventually wins everything. He wins the respect of his peers, the admiration of the women he desires, and most importantly, the quiet pride of looking in the mirror and knowing he did not compromise his soul. This level of integrity is what creates a legacy. It is what separates the boys who are searching for themselves in the eyes of others from the men who have found themselves in the fire of their own discipline. You must understand that attraction is not a conscious choice people make. It is a biological and psychological response to perceived value and strength. By implementing these boundaries, you are signaling to the subconscious mind of others that you are a high-value individual. You are showing that your resources, whether they are emotional, temporal, or physical, are not easily attained. This scarcity creates a natural desire. It is the fundamental law of economics applied to human relationships. When you make yourself a common commodity, you are treated like one. When you make yourself a rare and guarded treasure, you are sought after with intensity. This is not about arrogance. It is about an accurate assessment of the divine spark within you. You have a purpose on this earth that is far greater than being someone's backup plan or a source of free validation. Your time is the only non-renewable resource you possess. To give it away to those who do not honor it is a form of self-betrayal. To explain your worth to those who are determined to misunderstand you is a waste of your intellect. To chase those who are walking away is a denial of your own path. Instead, turn that energy inward. Use the time you would have spent chasing to build your empire, to sharpen your mind, and to strengthen your body. Use the energy you would have spent explaining to deepen your own understanding of the world. Use the focus you would have given to her inconsistency to create your own consistency. When you do this, you become a gravitational force. You no longer have to worry about who is staying or who is leaving, because you are moving toward a destination that is worthwhile regardless of who is by your side. This is the ultimate form of masculine power, the power of self-reliance. It is the knowledge that while you may desire companionship, you do not need it to be whole. This lack of neediness is the most attractive trait a man can possess. It is the foundation upon which all healthy, respectful relationships are built. When two people come together out of choice rather than necessity, the connection is infinitely stronger. By holding these boundaries, you are ensuring that any woman who enters your life does so because she respects the man you have become, not because she can manipulate the man you are. This creates a cycle of positive reinforcement. As you see the results of your boundaries, your confidence grows. As your confidence grows, your boundaries become even more natural and unshakable. You begin to attract a higher quality of person, and your life begins to reflect the standards you have set. This is the transformation from a man who reacts to the world to a man who creates his own reality. It starts with the decision to never again accept less than what you give. It starts with the courage to be alone rather than be disrespected. It starts with the strength to say no when your heart and mind are not in alignment with the request. And finally, it concludes with the realization that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Every boundary you set is an act of love toward your future self. It is a promise that you will protect your peace, your time, and your dignity at all costs. This is what it means to be a man of character. This is what it means to be a man who is worthy of attraction. Let these 7 boundaries be your guide. Carry them with you into every interaction, every date, and every conversation. They are not weapons to be used against others, but shields to protect the flame of your own self-respect. When that flame burns brightly, it lights the way for others to follow, but it also warns them that they cannot get too close without honoring the heat. This is the balance of the masculine: strong yet controlled, available yet limited, kind yet firm. Master this balance, and you will never have to chase again. The world will come to you, not because you demanded it, but because you became the kind of man that the world cannot help but notice. This is your journey. This is your transformation. Walk it with your head held high, knowing that every step you take in alignment with your boundaries is a step toward the life you were meant to lead. Do not falter. Do not waver. The strength you seek is already within you, waiting for the boundaries that will allow it to finally flourish. In the end, the respect of a woman is a beautiful thing, but the respect of yourself is a mandatory thing. One is a gift, the other is a foundation. Build the foundation first, and the gifts will follow in their own time, according to the laws of the universe. This is the truth. This is the way. Believe in your own value enough to defend it, and watch as the world begins to believe in it too. Every man has the potential to be a king in his own right, but a king is defined by the borders he protects and the laws he upholds. Without borders, there is no kingdom. Without laws, there is no order. Establish your borders today, uphold your laws tomorrow, and live as the man you were always destined to be, a man of power, a man of purpose, and a man of unshakable self-respect. This is not just about attraction. It is about the very essence of what it means to be a man in a world that often tries to diminish you. Your boundaries are your rebellion against mediocrity. They are your stand against the fading of your own light. Hold them fast, hold them true, and let the results speak for themselves. You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, and the guardian of your own worth. Let no one, regardless of how much you desire them, ever make you forget that fundamental truth. When you stand in that truth, you are truly free, and in that freedom, you become the most attractive version of yourself that could ever exist. The path is clear. The choice is yours. Choose yourself, and the rest will fall into place as it was always meant to. This is the final lesson of the boundaries. They do not keep people out so much as they keep your own power in. And when your power is contained and focused, it becomes a force of nature that can move mountains and win hearts without ever needing to say a single word of persuasion. This is the quiet strength of the masculine boundary. This is your new reality. Embrace it fully, live it daily, and never, ever look back.